I didn't tell my child's biological father that his rights had been terminated years ago. My ex Troy and I got divorced when our daughter Megan was 2. He wasn't a bad guy exactly, but he was 23 and wanted to party more than parent. The divorce was messy because he'd cheated with some girl from his warehouse job. He felt guilty about it, so he never fought me on anything. He'd see Megan maybe twice a month and always paid his support on time, but you could tell he felt awkward around her, like he didn't know how to be a dad when he'd been such a garbage husband. I met Kevin when Megan was 4 and we got married a year later. Kevin was incredible with her. He did the bedtime routine every single night, packed her lunches, learned to braid hair from YouTube videos because I was terrible at it. By the time she was 6, she was calling him dad and asking why her last name was different from ours. That's when Kevin brought up adoption. He wanted to make it official. I knew we'd need Troy's signature, so I called him up. I expected a fight, but he just sounded tired. He said if it made things easier for Megan to have the same last name as her family, he'd sign whatever. I think he still felt so guilty about the cheating that he'd do anything I asked. Here's the thing. I told him it was paperwork, so Megan could have Kevin's last name for school stuff. I didn't specifically say he'd be giving up his parental rights. The lawyer had explained everything to me about termination and adoption, but when Troy showed up to sign, I just handed him the papers and said thanks for being cooperative. He literally didn't read a single page, just signed where the lawyer pointed. The whole thing took maybe 15 minutes. Afterwards, he asked if he should still pick Megan up on his weekends, and I said, yeah, we'd figure out a schedule that worked. Then he left. I never figured out a schedule. He'd text about seeing her, and I'd say she was busy with soccer or had a birthday party. After a few months, he stopped asking as much. I think part of him was relieved, honestly. He'd started dating someone new and didn't have to explain the whole kid situation as much. He still sent the child support every month like clockwork, but the visits just kind of faded out. I didn't push it, and honestly, neither did he. Megan's 14 now. She barely remembers Troy. Last month, he showed up at her soccer game out of nowhere, just standing by the bleachers watching. Megan didn't even recognize him at first. After the game, he came over and said he wanted to be more involved now that he'd gotten his life together. He said his girlfriend left him last year, and it made him realize he'd been running from responsibility his whole life. He had a good job now and his own place, and he missed his daughter. I told him we'd need to discuss it. He said he'd have his lawyer draw up a formal visitation agreement since we never had one in writing. He seemed genuinely excited about it. That's when everything exploded. His lawyer called my lawyer and apparently lost his mind when he found out there was an adoption on file. Troy called me screaming, asking when I was planning to tell him he didn't have a daughter anymore. I said he signed the papers. He said I told him it was just for school records. He showed up at my house 2 days later with his lawyer and 8 years of canceled child support checks. He'd been paying support this entire time for a child he had zero legal rights to see. His lawyer said I'd committed fraud. I said he should have read what he signed. He said I deliberately misled him and he trusted me because he felt bad about how the marriage ended. Kevin told him to leave or he'd call the police. Troy lost it and started yelling that Kevin stole his family. Megan heard the whole thing from upstairs. She came down crying asking why her biological father was saying Uncle Kevin wasn't her real dad. That's what she calls Troy now, Uncle Troy, because that's basically what he is legally. Troy's threatening to sue for fraud and emotional distress. His lawyer says the termination might be reversed because I obtained his signature under false pretenses. My lawyer says that's unlikely since he had every opportunity to read the documents and chose not to. But she also said a judge might not be happy that I clearly misrepresented what he was signing.